Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you here at the World Ag Expo today with Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreaux. We've had a number of interviews over the years and wanted to talk about a beehive theft and some of the other issues in the tree nut industry related to crimes and ag. It's been more of a problem in the past, not so much now. There are some measures as we get into almond pollination season that growers and our beekeepers are taking to mitigate that. I was wondering if you could tell us a little about that.
Yeah, we've done some great work over the course of the last couple of years working with our beekeepers. This last year, coming into season, we've had a significant reduction. I think this last year, or even within the last 6 months, we only had 12 boxes that were reported stolen. That's huge. That's huge for us. And so working with our beekeepers, we've been able to, encourage different styles and ideas of how to reduce the risk for that. Identifying the boxes for one, which is easily identifiable for law enforcement in a traffic stop. What we have seen is some weighted systems and some cover systems where it's far more difficult for someone just to pull into an area and pick up and grab and run away with those beehives. And then vigilance and following up and watching what's happening where you've left the hives. And we've really seen some significant impacts, and our patrol deputies have also been patrolling the areas that we find that the hives have been landed, and we've been doing patrol checks when we are working with our keepers. And man, we've just had tremendous success with some of those efforts, and I would encourage people to just continue to stay vigilant with the beehives, and I think that we'll continue to see reductions in that. And then, also you mentioned the tree nut growers and some of the issues that we were faced a few years ago with the high impact thefts and the $500,000 loads, that type of thing. But we worked really, really closely. Our ag detectives worked with our dehydrators as well as our truck driving industry, and being able to identify people, biometrics in some aspects, where we'd take a fingerprint and photograph, and following up with the delivery and the bidder on the truck system. And so we've had great success. We did have a recent theft where there was a failure to follow procedures on the part of the dehydrator. It had nothing to do with anything law enforcement had done, but it was a really quick and learning lesson that everything that's been put in place has to be followed. You have to be vigilant in that regard. And as long as we're on top of it, I think we're going to continue to see significant reductions in loss.
Well, great. There's a protocol, certain questions that need to be answered, and checkoff list for our processors when they're moving product. And on the beehives, you'd think that a lot of people are scared of bees as it is, so they wouldn't be so much of a problem. But the fact that you've got a system here anchoring them into the ground.
Anchoring in the ground,
yeah. So I think that's wonderful news that, our farmers have enough problems to deal with as it is, so we're really grateful for your efforts.
It's been great work in partnership with our agricultural industry in whatever genre that may be, and Beehives is right in that industry. So it's important that we continue to follow up and be vigilant in regards to being a good witness, being someone who makes the theft difficult, think like a criminal, and it'll become far more difficult for those to take and for us to suffer loss.
Right. Now, Mike, you've also been busy with campaigning and running for Congress.
I am.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about where you stand, particularly from an agricultural front, what you plan to represent as you, make your way potentially to being in Congress.
Yeah, I've decided to run for the congressional seat of McCarthy, which is congressional seat number 20 in California. I really got into this race because I've seen some things that I feel that I can bring to the table. One of those being is real life experiences when it comes to working with our agricultural industry, when it comes to working with our water boards, when it comes to the criminal element that impacts our Central Valley based on an open and unsecure border. And I'm a Republican conservative sheriff. I always have been. You've got some negative ads out there calling me a liberal sheriff, and I just have to tell people, do your due diligence and research. You'll find that I'm a conservative Republican who believes in law and order. I'm a sheriff that's in the Central Valley. There's no way that I would be voted into a position as a liberal, because my belief system is founded on God, for one. It's also founded on law and order, a strong dollar for our economy. I always value our families, especially being in law enforcement. We value our families. We pay attention and work with our victims of crime. And because of an open and unsecure border, we really are impacted on many different levels in our agriculture, but as well as our water. We're always talking about water. I believe that the highest level, the highest bar should be reached for And my goal is we should not be charging farmers for 1 cent of water. Water has to be the focus of national security. Our farmers feed our soldiers. Our farmers feed and provide quality health to Americans. There's no way that we can look at it any other way. When it comes to our water industry, I have a lot of great innovative ideas. And in addition to holding California government accountable for the loss and the failed memory of Proposition 1 back in with Governor Brown in regards to water sustainability and clean water, there was 7.12 or over $7 billion worth of money and finances that was awarded and supported with the idea of clean water storage. That has somewhat disappeared. No one seems to have an answer for that. And so I'm the kind of guy that's lived in the trenches. I'm going to push hard. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be tough for the people in this district. And I understand the needs of the community. And when I say community, I understand the needs of the people that live here.
Well, really appreciate what you're standing for, what you're trying to do. It takes a lot just to run for a position like this, and on top of all the hard work you're doing as the sheriff. So appreciate. I think some people would hate to lose you as sheriff to this position,
It's
but
flattering, yes,
but
for sure.
appreciate your good work, especially all these years in protecting the interests of our farmers. So read more about these things in our publications. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.